This is Japan, a nation carved by mountains, punished by earthquakes, and surrounded by seas that don't forgive mistakes. A place where land is scarce, nature is unpredictable, and survival demands discipline instead of excuses. Yet despite every geographical disadvantage, Japan built a society that outperforms countries with far more land, resources, and comfort. It didn't rise because nature blessed it. It rose because people refused to break, even when history and the earth itself tried to crush them. Today we discuss 15 geography facts about Japan and understand how a country with limited space, constant natural threats, and almost no raw resources became one of the most advanced and efficient nations on the planet. Fact number 1. Geography built Japan's discipline, not comfort. Japan's geography is unforgiving. More than 2/3 of the land is mountains, meaning flat ground is precious and life clusters on narrow coastal plains. Instead of spreading out, Japan learned to build upward, plan intelligently, and protect every usable space. Infrastructure didn't develop through convenience, it developed through necessity, and necessity creates efficiency. Cities like Tokyo aren't modern by accident. They are engineered responses to a land that forces organization, vertical growth, and relentless adaptation. Weak nations complain about their geography. Japan built a global powerhouse on terrain most countries would quit on. Fact number 2. Living on the Ring of Fire created a nation that never panics. Japan sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates collide and nature doesn't negotiate. Earthquakes strike constantly, volcanoes loom, and tsunamis are not hypothetical. They are part of life. Most countries collapse when disaster hits once. Japan prepares for disaster every single day. Emergency systems, drills, construction standards, and public discipline aren't optional. They are survival tools. The world saw this during the 2011 disaster. Chaos never took over. Order never broke, and rebuilding started before the world finished watching the news. Japan doesn't avoid disaster, it trains to overcome it. That's not fate, that's mindset. Fact number 3. A country with no resources that outsmarted resource-rich nations. Japan has almost zero major natural resources. No big oil fields, no endless farmland, no mineral wealth to brag about. In most places, this becomes an excuse. In Japan, it became motivation. They imported raw materials, mastered manufacturing, and built global brands that shape industries. Toyota, Sony, Honda, Panasonic, Nintendo. Japan turned shortage into a strategy. Instead of digging wealth from the ground, they engineered wealth with knowledge, discipline, and precision. Countries drowning in natural riches often stay poor because they rely on what they have, instead of what they can build. Japan proves that resources in the mind beat resources in the soil. Fact number 4. A self-defense force that is quietly elite. Japan's constitution technically limits its military, yet the restriction didn't weaken them. It forced strategic power instead of loud power. The Japan Self-Defense Forces operate with cutting-edge technology, advanced submarines, world-class missile defense, and strong alliances, especially with the United States. Japan doesn't posture on global stages and scream strength for attention. It builds quietly and prepares seriously. Unlike reckless military cultures, Japan values restraint backed by capability. Anyone assuming Japan is defenseless because it doesn't shout is misunderstanding silence for weakness, and that misunderstanding would be fatal for any opponent foolish enough to test it. Fact number 5. Farming success in a land with almost no farmland. Japan's agricultural reality is harsh. Limited arable land, small farms, and geography that doesn't care about human needs. Instead of crying about shortage, Japan reinvented farming, precision rice cultivation, vertical agriculture, robotics in agriculture, hydroponics, and controlled environment systems. Their focus isn't cheap bulk production. They specialize in premium quality, world-renowned rice, luxury fruits, Kobe beef, and unmatched seafood systems. Japanese farmers aren't stuck in outdated traditions. They fuse technology and tradition, proving agriculture evolves like any industry when people are willing to innovate instead of complain about land and weather. Standards rise when excuses die.
Fact number 6.
Forests cover much of Japan, nature's paradox. Over two-thirds of Japan is covered in forests, yet much of this land is too steep or rugged to build or farm on. These forests aren't just scenic backdrops, they're vital to the nation's survival. They prevent landslides, regulate rivers, and store water for cities below. Japan has turned what many nations might see as wasted mountainside into an environmental asset, carefully managing forests for both ecological health and economic benefit. Timber, paper, and recreational spaces coexist with dense greenery, and the Japanese respect forests as both a resource and a sacred space. The paradox is clear. A country constrained by land uses its forests to extend life and opportunity. Fact number 7. Rivers shape life and cities in Japan. Japan's rivers are short, fast, and prone to flooding, reflecting the country's mountainous topography. Yet they are lifelines, carving fertile valleys, powering hydroelectric plants, and providing water for dense cities. Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto all owe their location and growth to river systems that allowed agriculture and trade to flourish, despite limited space. Japan doesn't simply accept rivers as natural features. It engineers around them, building dams, levees, and flood-controlled channels to protect people while harnessing energy. The country's rivers are a lesson in coexistence. Adapt to nature, don't fight it blindly. Fact number 8. Climate and weather define strategy. Japan experiences extremes, freezing winters in the north, subtropical heat in the south, typhoons, heavy rainfall, and earthquakes throughout. This variability shapes everything: housing, infrastructure, agriculture, and even culture. Buildings are earthquake-resistant, cities are designed to handle floods, and farms are adapted to short growing seasons. Seasonal shifts influence diets, festivals, and urban planning, embedding weather into daily life. While many nations treat climate as a backdrop, in Japan, it dictates innovation and resilience at every level. Nature sets the rules, Japan plays better than most. Fact number 9. Japan's economy thrives despite limited land and resources. Japan is the third largest economy in the world by nominal GDP, yet it has almost no natural resources and limited farmland. Its economic strength lies in precision manufacturing, technology, robotics, and trade. Companies like Toyota, Sony, and Nintendo showcase Japan's ability to extract maximum value from minimal raw materials. Urban centers are hyper-efficient, transportation networks are world-class, and innovation is embedded in every sector from energy to electronics. The lesson is clear. Scarcity can produce mastery when discipline, strategy, and foresight replace excuses. Japan's economy doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. Fact number 10. Urban planning and population density are extreme challenges. Japan's population is concentrated on narrow coastal plains, creating some of the densest cities on Earth. Tokyo, for instance, houses over 37 million people in its metro area, yet manages functional transportation, housing, and services. Skyscrapers, bullet trains, and automated systems are responses to spatial limits, turning pressure into innovation. Even small towns are designed for efficiency, integrating flood control, energy conservation, and public transport. Population density might terrify other nations, but Japan treats it as an engineering challenge rather than a problem. Proof that constraints can drive genius, not despair.
Fact number 11. Military and strategic defense. Japan's self-defense forces are limited by law but highly advanced. Submarines, stealth fighters, missile defense, and a strong alliance with the U.S. ensure security. Geography demands precision, strategy, and readiness over sheer size, making Japan quietly powerful. Fact number 12. Agriculture and innovation. Limited farmland didn't stop Japan. Terrace farming, hydroponics, and robotics produce high-quality rice, vegetables, and fruits. Scarcity became a reason to innovate, creating world-renowned crops like Wagyu beef and premium fruits. Fact number 13. Fisheries and the ocean. Surrounded by seas, Japan depends on fisheries for food and economy. Modern aquaculture and deep-sea fishing supplement traditional methods. The ocean extends the country's resources, trade routes, and strategic reach, making geography an asset. Fact number 14. Islands and maritime borders. Japan has over 6,800 islands, but most people live on 4. Bridges, tunnels, and ferries connect communities, while maritime borders define trade, fisheries, and defense. Fragmented land demanded innovation in transport and urban planning. Fact number 15. Tourism and environment. Mountains, rivers, forests, and seasonal changes make Japan a tourism hub. Cities balance history with modern life, preserving nature within urban areas. Geography shapes not only survival, but culture, economy, and lifestyle.
Japan proves limits can become advantages. Mountains, earthquakes, scarce land, and extreme weather didn't stop it. They forced innovation, discipline, and planning. These 15 geography facts show how Japan turns obstacles into opportunity, proving geography is a canvas for human ingenuity, not destiny.